Hey everybody, Don Reisinger here today. If you've been hearing the latest news on Netflix, you know that Verizon is potentially considering acquiring the streaming and DVD by mail service provider. It's an interesting thought, and there is a possibility that it could happen. After all, Netflix's shares are plummeting, which means its market cap is also plummeting, which means it can be acquired at a bargain. Plus, the company is still wildly popular. And if Verizon can find a way to only acquire its streaming service and leave the DVD by mail alone, well, it could be a great deal. At the same time, we have to consider the fact that Verizon is probably not going to be the only company to have interest in Netflix. And therefore, Netflix should at the very least consider selling the company, or at the very most say, look, starting in January, let's start a bidding war. Let's find out which company out there is going to be most willing to acquire us. But even if Netflix doesn't do that, I think we're going to see a lot of companies line up to acquire the firm. As I mentioned, aside from the fact that it's popular and its stock price is declining and therefore its market value is declining, a lot of companies need Netflix, like Amazon. Amazon right now has its Prime Instant Video service, is competing against Netflix. And earlier this year, it acquired LoveFilm, which is the Netflix equivalent in Europe. But Amazon seems like the primary company here that would want to acquire Netflix. After all, it wants to be the streaming provider for the world and has the money to acquire the firm. But if Amazon doesn't do it, what about Apple? Apple, like Amazon, is trying to make it in streaming, but Apple's doing it a slightly different way. If Apple found a way to acquire Netflix with its billions and millions of dollars of cash, well, the company could seemingly put itself in a good position to capitalize on the growth of streaming services. And if it does in fact release a new television next year, offering that service on its own set, perhaps exclusively, could be huge for Apple. So, yeah, I think that there are going to be a lot of companies lining up for Netflix. After all, earlier this year, Hulu Plus was reportedly on sale. And several companies like Yahoo, Amazon, and Google, and Microsoft, and several others said they were interested. If that many companies are interested in Hulu Plus, why wouldn't we think that more wouldn't be interested in Netflix? It's the company that has made streaming so popular. It's a company with a huge library of titles. And it's the company that consumers are still flocking to. So, if you're a Netflix investor, be prepared for the possibility of a buyout. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do think there is a strong possibility that a lot of companies, Amazon, Apple, among many others, are going to at least try and bid for the company's streaming service.